Hey everybody, Rory here with the Goddess Isis Coven, and I am back for another part of this story. Okay, so we're doing a story. I was instructed to do this, and I am just telling you a story about me and my embodiment of Isis. I'm the reincarnation of Isis in this lifetime. And for those of you who don't know and haven't rewound and gone back to look at the other parts, Isis is immortal. So she has been here as a human 3 times. And I am her as a human in this lifetime. So in this part of our story, I was asked to present my story of me and Amun-Ra. So now, Amun-Ra presented himself to me on December the 12th. And before that, I had been feeling like these hot flashes. Like I would have this flash of heat when I was divining. And it would be like maybe a minute or two, a couple minutes into me divining, I'd have a flash of heat. And I'd be like, what is this? I thought the hot flashes were gone. What is going on here? And so I'd have this flash, but it didn't feel like how my hot flashes used to feel. It felt a little different. And then Mother God told me that when I was feeling that, it was when I was connecting with Source Creator. And so I was like, okay. And so, I mean, I could see that because I often have cold flashes when I'm connected to spirit as well. And when I'm doing divination work. So, okay, cool beans. So on the 12th, December the 12th of this year, 2022, I get a little knock. Sometimes when spirit is communicating with me, I get a tap, and that's all I'm going to say. So I get a little tap, and then I go, oh, does somebody want to say something to me? And then I get into a state and I communicate with spirit. So on this particular day, I got, I am Amun-Ra. And I was like, oh. And I had recently done a lecture on Amun-Ra, and it was a brief lecture. It wasn't in a lot of detail, but so when he said that, I was like, okay. I'm like trying to think in my head about my lecture again. And so for this segment, he wants me to share with you what he said to me on December the 12th when he came. And he came like a father. You know, he came like giving me fatherly advice. And that's kind of how it was when Mother God came in. That's how it was when SU came in the first time. And they often come in and they're giving me advice. You know, they don't ask me questions because I'm sure they already know everything that there is to know about me. But they come in and they're always giving me advice like, do this, don't do that, do this, don't do that, make sure you don't do this, make sure you do that, you know, and it kind of feels like my parents, right? So this is how it felt when he was speaking with me. So I'm going to read to you guys. I got my little journal and I'm going to read to you guys what he said to me because this is what he told me to do. And let me put the little clicker down before I accidentally click us off. Okay, so bear with me while I read. Okay. Beware of your surroundings. Do not allow everyone into your life. Never look back at what you could have had. Do not carry your burdens on your heart. Look towards your future in order to achieve your greatness. Leave all your cares about finances behind. You are Isis. You don't need documentation to validate who you are. Everyone will soon know. You will be announced to the world. Do not be afraid of anyone. You are their almighty Isis. I think that's what it said. Almighty, Almighty Isis, or Almighty, Almighty Goddess Isis, or something like that. I remember thinking, you said Almighty twice. I'm confused, but that's what he said. Okay, you are there, Almighty, Almighty Isis. Acres of land are yours to appropriate for agriculture. And then that's where he stopped. And I was like, okay. I was like, okay, thank you for sharing. Okay, so I thought this was like, wow. I'm like in amazement, right? And so that's when he paused, and then I started asking 10,000 questions. But for this segment, he asked me not to share, all the questions that I asked him. He just asked me to share this little piece right here. So that's what I'm sharing for you guys. But since that day, he has spoken with me every day, sometimes several times a day. And it's been a very enriching experience. He has helped me to embrace who I am, embody who I am. I've had to do different rituals and different little things that I saw, like I would get a clairvoyant vision of what I'm supposed to do for either me or for somebody else or whatever. But I saw what I was supposed to do for me, and he helped me to embody the fullness of Isis. I always have had this ability to do healing work. Like I could touch and heal. I remember this woman came to me like, this is like, I love this story the most. What this lady came to me, and she came to me for an emotional situation. Because she had a death in the family. So she came to me because of that. And she was an older woman, and she got on my table, and we had like my sessions are about 3 hours, and at least sometimes. And I try to do them shorter, but if you're getting the fullness of me, you're probably going to be with me for a little while. So my sessions encompass a whole lot. So part of it is body work. You get on the table, and I do touches, and I do etheric work with you, healing work, right? And so she got the full gamut. And when she finished, she said, "Oh, I can't wait to see how I'm going to walk up those stairs out there." And I was like, huh? And she said, and then she tells me about her knee, and she said that for years she's been getting cortisol shots in her knee, and she gets them every few months, and it's pretty bad. She doesn't want to have a replacement or whatever. So I'm curious too, like, yeah, let's see, And she put her shoe on, and she was like, wow, she couldn't usually flip her leg up in the air to put her shoe on like that in the past. So anyway, she did well. She didn't have to get any shots. And then I kept checking on her between her and her daughter. I'd be like, how's she doing? How that knee doing? How the legs doing? Whatever. The knees. She called them the knees. And then she came back like maybe 4 months later, and the pain had come back. And I was like, well, maybe you should come back every 3 months, and then we could, head off the pain. And so we did another session, and then she didn't come back. And then I had promotions and stuff. I had freebies. I had a whole bunch of stuff, free clinics and everything. And I was like, come on back. I'm thinking it was the price, as to why she hadn't returned. And I would check on her. No, I'm doing fine. I'm doing fine. And I would check on her every month. And I told her, if it's the money, just come, because I'd rather you be well than worry about the money. She'd be like, no, I'm fine. And it was like a year. No, I'm fine. Have you had those shots? No, I'm fine. Then it was 2 years. Then it was 3 years. And I'm like, oh my God. Thank you. Thank you for using me as a vessel to heal this woman, and I've done, there's been so much healing, but I love that story, and because it amazed me. Like my friends, those people close to me, they think I'm crazy because I be getting amazed by stuff, and they just look at me like, okay. But anyway, we are going to end that short story right there, and I'll see y'all in the next one. Ashe.